Hi there, this is Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com showing you my Thud and Fling list that was inspired from some of the submissions from the Rogue Master Brewer. This is a Atog Fling. This is also an inspiration from good old Affinity from Pauper, and I've been playing this with a little bit of success. Of course, it's not... I don't think you can take this to a highly competitive tournament, but as far as arena deck, this is exactly where I want the competitive level to be at. This is something that I will play in the free-to-play, and I'll play in just the constructed leagues, the quick leagues. I don't think I'd play this in a competitive league, though, as I think it gets a lot worse post-sideboard. There are some cool little sideboard options that I thought about putting in this deck, which we'll go over. But for now, I don't even have a sideboard. You can see there's one card in the sideboard, and I just have there as a reminder that maybe I want to go that route in the future with this deck. So anyway, this is what I said is focused around flinging Atogs. So Ravenous Intruder is our go-to Atog card. Whoops, we don't want to decrease the amount of Atogs in our deck. This is basically the reprint of Atog under another name, Ravenous Intruder. Sacrifice an artifact, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And if you ever played Pauper, this is a very, very popular Pauper strategy to then fling a Atog at your opponent after you sacrificed everything to the Atog. So they also run a Teamer Battle Rage. Unfortunately, we don't have a Teamer Battle Rage in the format. The best thing we have right now is Onward Victory. I think I have yet to do an Onward Victory kill with this deck, as the Victory, that's 6 mana to be casting both. I guess the Victory side of it is something later on, like if you get another Atog, you could Victory to swing it for lethal. Sorcery Speed makes it quite awkward, though, because it just televises what you're going to do. But Onward is very, very powerful in this deck, and hopefully we'll see some games where that actually happens, where there's an Onward, Ravenous Intruder, Fling, or Thud way to win. So let's just go over the deck list. I'm hoping that Arena will give us kind of this way to close this stupid... I like the layout here, but unfortunately I have not figured a way how to close these cards up top. So you have to let me know in the comment section how you'd like this laid out. For right now, I kind of like this side layout better, as I can just scroll down the cards and you can see a bigger picture of them as I go down. In the future, I'm going to try to do some hybrid videos where I show gameplay and more of an edited video, but I need to just have some time to sit down and actually edit through those decks. So anyway... So this deck is going to try to utilize as many artifacts as possible. This might remind you a lot of just the Master Thopterist Paradoxical Outcome deck, because using a lot of very similar cards. However, in this case, we're running Implements, because Implements by far are the stronger cards to be throwing in this deck. As when you sacrifice them, they also draw you a card. So we're going to be running the 4 Implements of Improvement, 4 Implements of Combustion. You can also see that these are the 2 that cost 1. There's one other that costs 1, but it also is green. That one's not that terrible to... it's a non-bow, though, because usually you're going to be sacrificing the Ravenous Intruder, not using the mana cost. So the Implement of Improvement and the Implement of Combustion are something that if we don't have a Ravenous Intruder, we still have a way to sacrifice them to try to dig for the Intruder. So of course we're going to be running a 4 Thuds, 1 Fling, and 2 Onward Victories. I started this deck with 4-4-4. Of course, that's just too many of them. You get stuck with a lot of these in hands, and these aren't that great in multiples. Thud is in my opinion, the better of the 2 of Fling and Thud, as we have the combination with Thud, Onward Victory, and Ravenous Intruder. They can all come out on, I believe, turn 6 it can happen. You can cast, or usually what ends up happening is you have a Ravenous Intruder out, and it's just 4 mana to do like an Onward Victory and a Thud, and so you can have some leftover mana to do something else. And there's been a lot of times that combination of just utilizing 4 mana has been the difference between winning the game and not winning the game, having to wait for an extra mana for Fling. So we'll get to some of those scenarios, hopefully, to show you what I mean by that. We're also going to run the Metalspinner's Puzzleknot. This one just draws you a card when it comes into play. We do have a way we can sacrifice it through Prophetic Prism, turning one of our sources black. However, without a Prophetic Prism, you can't sacrifice the Puzzleknot. It's just another 2 mana artifact when it comes into play, draws you a card, sticks around for your Intruder. Exactly what the Prophetic Prism's doing. And then we're running the Servo Schematic. I had the other one in here, the Cogworks that put out a servo and itself, and then you can sacrifice for a servo. But this is a 3-for-1, not just a 2-for-1. So this one's by far the more powerful, and it's right where we want to be with our artifact count. I think the Prophetic Prism and the Metalworks Puzzleknot having the ability to dig through your deck is a little more important than running another, like the other Puzzleknot, the Cogworkers Puzzleknot for the Servo and just the other artifact. So we have a Master Thopterist in here as a 2 of. Very, very good card. I've been tempted to go up to a 3 of. However, these are bad in multiples. I thought about going like a Cathartic Reunion or Chart of Course just to really dig through the deck, but those are sometimes unreliable if they get countered, or you don't want to be spending those turns to be digging. So I think just 2 of is the right number for the Master Thopterist. This is going to generate you a ton of artifacts. You can take this route to victory by using just a bunch of cantrip artifacts and attacking with the Thopters. That has happened before. Other than that, that's a very few and far between scenario for when that actually does occur. Then we have the Karn Sign of Urza. This is my last edition. I usually try to avoid cards like this, mythics that are expensive, just because it's, people that are looking for off the beaten path decks usually don't want to be running tier cards to begin with and are looking for maybe budget ways to. Usually that's what's one of the strengths to a rogue deck, is they tend to be budget, because usually the only cards that are expensive are cards that go in tier decks. So if you're running a rogue deck, by definition, you're not going to have any tier cards that are going to cost a ton of money. However, Karn is a necessary evil in this deck. I've even thought about going up to 4 copies of Karn, as this card just wins you the game by itself. Sometimes these make great Onward Fling targets. There has been a time where my opponent goes Galta, and then I go Karn, negative Karn, make a 14/14 token, because I just had that many artifacts out with the Servo Schematics and whatnot. And the Galta could not attack in to my 14/14, and then it was like the next turn I was able just to Onward and Fling it. There had been another scenario where I was able to Onward a Karn token in it got really clogged between a life-linking cat deck, and they were up to something like 48 life, and I had a huge Karn token, but it couldn't really attack in because it didn't have trample. So I got it up to over 50 life or over 50 power and just flung it at my opponent. My opponent thinking they were safe at 48 life total. All right, anyway, then our draw spell in this deck is Reverse Engineer. It's very powerful with cards like Servo Schematic and these Implement of Combustion and Improvement. Don't mind the mana base too much. The mana base is mainly here because of me not redeeming cards for. I don't want to use my rares for rotating cards. I don't know when Arena is indefinitely going to be wiped, or if it is going to be wiped. So right now I'm stockpiling some rares. Well, not really. I have 4 rares, but I want to utilize rares for other brews that I'm building on right now, rather than putting them in Spirebluff Canals, which I don't know if I'm going to use. Same thing with the Inspiring Vantage. So we do have some 3 Glacial Fortresses, and we're mainly using islands. So Glacial Fortress will come untapped, same as Sulfur Falls. That's why I'm not using the Clifftop Retreats in here. So mana base is probably a lot better than what we're currently doing. I believe there's still only 20 lands in the deck, because this deck just cantrips through it very, very quickly, and you don't want to flood out with lands. So that's the gist of the deck. Again, the path to victory is usually going to be Flinging an Atog or Thudding an Atog. So let's go ahead and we'll play some games here. I'm just going to play it in some free play here. Well, I'll show you Arcane Adaptation some other time. I'm actually going to be working on a more highly edited deck for that. But we're going to Thud it up with our Jeskai Thud deck. Okay, so usually we like to see a blue and a red source in our opening hand. This is a topic I want to talk about. There's a lot of people that have. Any of you ever played Clash of Clans? Where I played a little bit of Clash of Clans early on, in the early days of Clash, where it became a grind, and then it was actually beneficial to lose a lot of matches in a row, so you'd go down and be able to find easier targets. I think people are doing that on Arena. So right now I think the easiest matchups is about Silver 2, Silver 3 is where I found the least amount of net decks. If you actually go into Bronze, you're going to find a lot of net decks, a lot of tier 1 decks, because people are doing that sort of strategy, losing games on purpose. This is a bad hand, but it's actually an acceptable 6. Like, you don't want to have a Thud and a Fling in your hand, but I wouldn't mind having a Thud, Reverse Engineer, Servo Schematic, and 3 lands in a 6-lander, so we'll just keep this one. So we'll start off just with probably just an island here, or Sulfur Falls is fine. It doesn't matter, either one. Island gives us the most options for things to come into play untapped, though. So we'll just start off an island. Don't like drawing that 4th land Again, we don't run a lot of lands, so hopefully we won't be running into them. We have the Ravenous Intruder, so this is actually starting to look really good. We'll lead off with the Servo Schematic because you don't want to run a Intruder which you can't protect against like a Lightning Bolt or a Lightning Strike or a Magma Spray. So the Schematics can allow us to be able to protect our Intruder, as well as next turn we might just end up reverse engineering depending on how I want to play it out. Most likely we'll go the Intruder because we can protect it just with one activation of a Schematic and then still have the mana the next turn for... Alright, so we're going up against a Dinosaur deck, so this should be a pretty decent match. Yeah, so I think that we'll just go... Yeah, we'll go Prism still. Well, do you know what? We can get Intruder out and threaten. Yeah, I'm going to go Intruder. Because then it's going to make my opponent not want to attack in. Next turn we have a Mountain and Prophetic Prism, and I believe we also can reverse engineer, and they'll fill back up everything. Alright, Forerunner is a problem because it can wipe our servos. Typically these dinosaur decks, that's the only card you really need to worry about is Forerunner of the Empire. I'm pretty sure he'll go get a... Oh, Needletooth wants to kill off the Intruder. So I might just need to fling the Forerunner right now, depending on what I draw here. Okay, so we have another, yeah, we have another Fling here, so I'm actually going to kill the Servo. I think it's the weaker of the cards. So do I want to give my opponent a Ranging Raptor to ramp up? I want to get a blocker out of the way eventually. Yeah, might as well. So cool, we get in for some damage. Can I kill my opponent here? Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, I can just kill my opponent here, I believe. Because that goes up to 5, 7, 9. Nope, not quite. But then I can Ravenous Intruder the next time around, and that just might be enough. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then Fling, I need one more artifact. Huh. I don't think I'm going to go for it. I might regret that later on. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the Forerunner. Get that out of the way. Because we do have a lot of ways to come back here. I'm not too concerned about a Needletooth Raptor that's coming out. Yep. Opponent's only getting in for 2. And this turn we can just reverse engineer. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to go another Prophetic Prism. We have a Glacial Fortress. We have some time to really... We have the Onward Ravenous Intruder, which could easily just win the game. So I'm just going to be taking 4 here. I think I need to go for another another Reverse Engineer. So we'll go Glacial Fortress. Draw a bunch more cards here. And there's a Karn. Karn is actually interesting. Just want to go Implement of Improvement. If I go Karn, I can put out a 4/4. It just dies to Needletooth. Can my opponent do damage, though, to the Atog? I can protect it, though, if that's the case. I'm an Atog. Yep, I think that's a decent play. I can protect it easily. And we're at 14, so we're in decent shape. I do have to worry about doing 1 damage to each creature. It'd require me to... Alright, so we're definitely going to eat a Servo Schematic here to fend off that Lightning Strike. It does, like, decrease damage, though, so I think my opponent is smartly playing around. I mean, we've televised what our deck is. So Burning Sun's Avatar just means we need to protect it again. Which we do. And I believe we have the victory next turn. Because I'm going to have enough artifacts, I believe. So 3, 6, 9... Do I need to draw 1 more? So 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh yeah, that's enough. That's enough right there. So yeah, we don't even need to like reverse engineer. Reverse engineer doesn't get us here anyway. So 2, 4, 6, 8 puts us up to 9, and we have the 2 red sources. So. There's 7. And 9. And then we have Onward. And we have a Thud for 18. So first game goes to the good guys. There you have it. So sometimes you can use those Atogs defensively to get rid of problematic cards. And we'll go ahead and play another one. Against a Karn. And let's see if we can have a good starting hand here. This is what I would call not a good starting hand. I think we need 2 lands. If we draw a land, it would be okay for the Metalwork Puzzleknot, but I'm going to ship it back. And this is fine. That's the good thing about this deck, though, is it does mulligan quite well. It's all about digging, and when most of your deck draws cards, you can safely keep a lot of hands. Unfortunately, it's all islands. We can't even crack these if we need to be. A Thopterist would have been good in this opening hand. Hey, sometimes you get what you want. I think I might just keep them all back. I'll cast 1. I don't think I want to cast both next turn, though. So this is going to be crazy if we... I mean, we still need to draw... The best card we can draw into is Reverse Engineer or Karn. We do need another mana for Karn. So it's going to be an opt. Control. Control can be tough with this deck. Of course, the ideal matchups for this are the mid-range decks that are farming the black, red, and mono red lists. So like cats, for example. So I think I'm going to keep both of these implements back. This should make my opponent play around a Metallic Rebuke. Metallic Rebuke absolutely should go on the sideboard, by the way. So now we will run out the Master of the Thopterist. If it gets countered, it gets countered. And if that's the case, I think we just lose the game. But nope. All right, that should be good then. Because what's the best thing about the Master Thopterist is the 4 toughness. It will require double Magma Spray. At that point, I feel pretty good. We could be going up against Wizards who just got off to a slow start. Highland Lake is not, of course, a really... look at that, another Thopterist. Not like the most tuned option right now. You have Inspiring Vantages, or the whatever the blue-red one is, the Spirebluff Canals. Now, do I have to play around a wizard that turns it into... Does it turn it into a 1-1? I'm just not even going to attack, because I think that's what it does, right? Turns it into a 1-1, loses all its abilities, and turns it into 1-1. Trickster? Now, Trickster doesn't just lose abilities. I can't remember. I'm not going to attack in just any sort of shenanigans with attacks. For that 1 point of damage is probably not... Well, I guess we did have the other Thopterist in our hand here. Well, then. We'll cast another one. Start the beatdown. Now if we draw any land, most of them will come into play untapped. There are only a couple that won't. Cryptic Serpent. That's going to be a sort of a difficult card, except if we just get a land. And not difficult when we get a Puzzleknot. And a Prism will get us the land for next turn. So good old Thopterist is definitely doing the job. Another Cryptic Serpent, not a big deal. I can even let this damage happen. As Karn tokens are going to be extremely good, if we can ever get one. We're going to get there. We're going to find a land eventually. Unfortunately, I think I need to start blocking. I'll block with 1. Yeah, block with 1. I do have to worry about removal, hitting these blockers, because I can't be taking much more damage. So Labyrinth Guardian. Yeah, blocking 1 I still think is the smart call, because it puts on a 2-turn clock, plus we have blockers next turn. Still didn't hit that. Okay. Now I got to kind of tone it down. Womp womp. So now I can't really... I can still put it on a 2-turn. We have a Thud. Well... I think I'm going to come in with 4 of them. Unfortunately, that was rough. We didn't hit another land forever. As I have 2 blockers. You can block there. I think I need to keep back 1. Unfortunately, that's not the greatest position. We just win if we get a Karn. Now let's block the... That's kind of a bad attack there, in my opinion. Don't have the mana to sacrifice, unfortunately, to dig. So... Yep. We'll make these blocks. Hey, we found it. There's the Sulfur... Maybe it's countered, though. No, it does not. So we get a nice little token.
There is great power in the things we make.
Just gonna attack in for 1. Leave back blockers galore. We just need to thud this next turn. Kind of is a little bit worrisome with my opponent having mana open. Again, this just seems like a very early or very beginner's deck, so this isn't the best example of the matchup. Double Cryptic Serpent, though, kind of represents... though my opponent did get land-blooded, though. Let's not be kidding ourselves here. Bloodroar Return will probably put the Trancing Melody back on top. Yep. So, trying to gain control of a Karn token, but that's not a very good option because it just becomes a 1/1. But we got the Thud for next turn. Can't attack in with the Cryptic Serpents this turn. Unless they have some way to make it unblockable. And next turn we can negative Karn and Thud anyways, just by blocking us with much. So you can see how big this construct gets. It's huge. One on Karn is not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's fine. This is going at Karn, right? This is going at... Yeah, it's going at Karn. So I've got everything blocked. So hard on Arena to sometimes to follow these stupid lines. They should just stack them like they do in M2GO.
Please stop.
So Karn goes to a 2. Loses a Serpent. And we could actually go for the... see, my opponent attacking with the 12/12. Just do it before we thud it. And there is a Thud. Not even having to use the Atog for this match. Again, I understand that was kind of a weak opponent, but a win's a win, right? You can see the power of the Thopterist in this deck. Hey, and we'll go on to another one. This is an okay hand. It's okay. It's not horrible, but it's also not ideal. We have ways to protect and draw with the implements. Alright, so I think I'm still going to go a schematic here because of Fatal Push. Unfortunately, these are both implements of improvement, not the implements I can sack to draw a card. Or how Reckless Fireweaver would do in this. Alright, so I'm glad I didn't do what I did, because the Fatal Push would have killed the Ravenous Intruder. And see if a Glint Sleeve Siphoner indeed comes out here. I love to draw land. We did draw land. Look at us go. Put out an Intruder. And then end the turn. Unfortunately, our opponent can get through with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. If our opponent does somehow tap out, though, we're in great shape. Should have played this Implement of Improvement. I don't know why I didn't. That was an oversight. Scrap Heap. So, leaving up a mana, though, for... Okay, so what we're going to do here... is I'm going to try to bait out a Fatal Push right now. It gives me more... And we get rid of this Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So I don't think my opponent just must not have seen it. They don't have a fatal push. All right, so now I'm wishing I would have done it that way because we would actually have the Thud kill if I would have had the implement out. All right, there's the other land. Wait, do we still have the Thud kill? No, we don't. I'm thinking, so we have 2, 4, 6, so it puts us up to 7. And I think I might sacrifice 1. No, it's fine. Yeah, because we might be able to draw something. I'm going to do 1. Gives another intruder. All right. So put us down to a 17. We know there's no like fatal push in hand at the moment. We have Karn coming out. I believe Karn's going to start pumping out some tokens. Okay, my opponent did top deck into a murder. No land yet, though. So my opponent did not draw a land. We can go a Servo Schematic over a Karn. Karn puts out a 3/3, but then has to block it. And we still have to play around like Vraska's Contempt. That still seems... Well, if my opponent has the removal spell, then Karn just dies. So I think we'll go the Ravenous Intruder. So we'll go Servo Schematic. Ravenous Intruder. And then pass the turn. I think that's a lot better. Yeah, because that threatens a lethal play with Thud next turn. So if my opponent just taps out for... Huh. We're going to do this again. So I think this is worth it. Don't know why my opponent did that again. Loses the death touch on the operative. That was kind of a weird play by my opponent. That's a beautiful play. Or a beautiful card to draw because it allows us to go Karn. And also create a token. And then attack with everything. If my opponent does not block the Atog, we can go for lethal. So I'm going to go Implement of Improvement here. The Puzzleknot puts us up to 7, so that takes it down to... So I just need to do 1 more. No, it takes us down to 8, so it takes us down to a 9. Yep, 1 more. And there you have it. There's the Thud combo. Another victory. We'll keep playing until we lose. Again, not the best opponent / best deck, but it did fight around a murder and a fatal push and a Glint-Sleeve Siphoner with, you know, I'm trying to justify and rationalize the strength of decks we've been playing against. All right, so let's go ahead and play another one. Highly, highly encourage you, though, to take this to your FNM. Standard showdowns and FNMs need less net decks. People showing up to my standard showdowns with black-red vehicles and calling it a brew. Literally. Because it's not exactly the same as the list they found. Ay. Tryhards. All right, this is a very good hand. It's got the Island Sulfur Falls. It has Onward. It does not have a Thud, though, but has plenty of ways to dig for it. I actually really like going up against green decks because a lot of times they think that they are the aggressive. They have a lot less ways to interact with you. All right, so this is, I still think we just go Servo Schematic here. Now, Onward can be an alternate win condition with the pumping everything up into a board, an empty board. Carry Zev, okay. So I think we will threaten the Intruder. Yeah, I think so. So this looks like kind of a red-green, maybe red-green Monsters brew. Tormenting Voice. Okay. Might just be a person, again, a new player working with what cards they have. I think Carry Zev was given as a 2 of, or I know you at least get 1 of because everyone gets a Kaladesh A3 Volt card. I don't know what's up with my opponents doing this sort of thing. So I think the... So wait a second. So we can go 2, 4, 6, puts up to 12. Yeah, we're not even close with the Onward. Thing is, we can get in with the Ravenous for some damage here. We'll go the Puzzleknot because I'd like to find a land here. All right, that's as good as a land. My opponent does not need to block because even a Thud. Can you see? Imagine though if we had a Thud in our hand here, my opponent would have to block, or would have to block if we. It'd take him down to a 2. So this will at least allow us to kill the Carry Zev. There's our land. Awesome. So I'm glad that our opponent decided to block like that because it allows us to kill the Carry Zev and put out another schematic. And now my opponent is definitely on the ropes. We have an Onward victory path here. Especially when my opponent puts out a card they don't want to trade with. So I could definitely go for the kill here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What can red-green do? They can fog. Do I want to give my opponent one more turn? I'm pretty sure we have the victory here. Seven. I'd have to kill all of them here. If my opponent does have a fog, we're in terrible shape. Nope, that's all I have to do right there. I can keep these 2. And there's 20 damage. A nice quick kill. We will go on to the next one. Could be here a while if we keep winning with this deck. Oh, yay. What I like about this deck too is your only real investments is into Karns, and you're likely to play those in multiple brews here. Looks like we earned a pack. Let's go ahead and crack this pack. We get an Amulet of Safekeeping. Womp, 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 womp. All right. This will be our last one, I think. I think we showcased some pretty good footage with this deck. I think I'll start streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch. I can't say that word on YouTube, otherwise we get demonetized and deranked for saying the T word. So, but it has been working out for me. Only been getting a few viewers over there, so we're probably going to come back to YouTube for the streams. And this is definitely a deck that I'm having a ton of fun playing with. This is an awesome hand to keep. Start off with the Island and the Implement of Combustion. Next turn we have the Metalspinner's Puzzleknot, and then a Reverse Engineer that's coming very quickly after that. So, Llanowar Elves finds the turn 2 Llanowar. Still going to be the Puzzleknot. There's a Karn. Interesting play next turn. I think we go Reverse Engineer over because I'd like to hit the lands. And our opponent has a Merfolk Branchwalker. Might be some sort of Explore deck. Settle the score. Okay. And our opponent throws it away. There's a Metalspinner's Puzzleknot. I still think it's just Reverse Engineer. Awesome. So we have the Servo Schematic. Yeah, this is definitely an Explorer deck. So my opponent's like looking for a payoff. Merfolk Branchwalker. I'm surprised Merfolk Branchwalker was... They didn't... Looking for lands, maybe? Not sure. Another Glacial Fortress. At this point, I think we just want another mountain. Karn is a liability, I think. Same thing with the Master Thopterist. I think what we do is we just put out the Intruder and a Schematic. And this puts us in a very, very good position here. I'll still take damage all day long if my opponent decides to attack in. I can't be playing around like Fatal Pushes. Throw away one removal spell, so I gotta think there's another removal spell in my opponent's hand. Decides not to attack in with anything, though. So now we actually have 2, 4, 6. I think I have lethal here. 2, 4, yep. So I'm glad I showcased this deck. Depending if my opponent has a removal spell. If I start sacking things, though, yeah, Onward, that's actually tough. I don't feel comfortable playing it out quite yet. I think we're gonna wait a turn because we have stuff we can do here. But I could have gone for lethal right there. Because it would have been 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, putting it up to an 11, and then Onward and Thud. We would have had perfect mana for it. I actually would have one excess mana, so I think I'm just going to pass. No point to it. I need my opponent to tap out. Okay, so where's Vraska going to go? Because I'm still in decent shape. Okay, so my opponent taps out. This is over now, which is putting out a 2/2. As we can do a ton of damage here. So let's just start sacking everything. Start with the Combustions, because that can draw us a card. And that we can actually even play, because that's perfect mana. So that's a lot of times you can actually Hail Mary for implements into more implements. I've had a game where I have hit like implements into Prophetic Prism, which is like the perfect lethal damage. And you can see I can do well over 20 here. We even have a land we can drop down. And so we could go 2, 4, 6, 8. We could actually do like 40 damage here. So I'm not going to waste my opponent's time though. Onward. See, that was a lot more legit of a game. Opponent had to play around removal, had to wait till my opponent tapped out. There you go. Guess we'll keep playing it. We'll keep playing until I lose a match or we hit that 1 hour mark. What are we currently at? Like 5-0 with the deck in the silver mid-range tier. Again, this is the sweet spot. This is where you want to be for grinding those games with MTG Arena. They might create a policy where if people are joining games and losing games on purpose to ban them. I know that like other games do that. The very simple solution to this though is just for Wizards to have the free play have a different rating than the other formats. Even the quick constructed, because that's why people are doing it. They're not doing it for their 15 daily games or easier dailies. They're doing it for. This is an interesting one. Do I go implement here, or I think I just go the Sulfur Falls tapped and the Inspiring Vantage untapped. But anyway, so they're doing it for the quick constructed, so they can get easy quick constructeds. So going against a white deck, typically they can be frustrating if they are life gain. Glacial Fortress was not a land I wanted to draw. I'd rather have an island here, of course, for another untapped, but it's fine. We don't really have a play next turn besides just a Metalwork Puzzleknot. Yeah, but it's going to be a life gain deck. Maybe a horse deck or a cat deck. Ooh, Thud. Additional Thud. So this next turn, I think we are going to reverse engineer. We are on a time clock for when my opponent can go crazy. This could be an Angel coming out here. This could be a Johnny's Pridemate coming out here. Arrow Responder is still a clock. And we do have to worry about this life gain because it does put us out of range for, that perfect 20. It can sometimes be kind of tough. Another Sulfur Falls. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to reverse engineer. Whoa. Don't want the Sulfur Falls tapped. And we do hit it. Awesome. So no miss on the land drop. We get an untapped land. We drew a full new hand. There's Chalet Voice of Plenty. That's actually going to be tough for us to beat. So now we need to find a Karn to deal with it because it has hexproof. So we get another Sulfur Falls. We'll just need to really dig here for cards. So let's go the Puzzleknot first. And I think, unfortunately, we need to just crack an improvement. I'd like to find something that I can throw out here. That is not it. We've dug and dug and dug here. Then this is the frustrating part. We haven't found the Atog or a Karn or a Master Thopterist. So none of our win cons. And it looks like there could be something like a Crested Sunmare coming out here, which could put us out of range. Lyra. Lyra is going to put us on a clock for sure. It's not the worst thing. It puts our opponent up a lot of life total. We need a Master Thopterist as quickly as possible to start putting out chump blockers. And right on cue. So then we can actually block the 2 flyers and then stop the life gain by sacking them. So that's actually pretty good. Or can we this turn? So we have the Thopterist. No, we can't. So I think I'm going to just have to block 1. And then draw or put out both. I think I'll put out both. So we have blockers. It's about time where my opponent can start putting counters on things too. Ugh, here comes an Angel token too. Normally, though, you could see, though, like the last draws we had where we had the Atog out quick, we could even get above this life total. Unfortunately, we can't stop the life gain. My opponent's going to get an Angel. I think I need to put a block on both of them. Yeah, I don't think there's a way out of this one. As my opponent gets that, there's the Ravenous Intruder. Can we get up to 43 life? I think we might be able to. This is crazy. Here it goes. All right. So, Ravenous Intruder. We're going for it. 43 life is the total. Womp womp. Oh, I can't even go for it anyway because my opponent has hexproof. Kill a schematic. Right, says your opponent has... So you planeswalkers and other creatures, so then we need to Thud Chalet with the Ravenous Intruder. Unfortunately, we don't have a flyer, though. But with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 onward, I think we could have got up there, which is crazy, crazy, crazy to think. So I think we need to sacrifice... to try to find a blocker, and that is not a blocker. So we lose that one. Chalet definitely was the card that beat us. And you can see, though, without even Chalet there, I believe that 43 life would have been an issue. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And look at us lose all those points. All right, I hope you enjoyed this deck. We'll try to play some more. Scheduling some streams will be tough. Probably 7 Eastern Standard Time is the go-to time on weekdays. We'll have to start a streaming schedule either on the T word that is illegal to say on YouTube or on YouTube itself. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this brew. Link is in the description for the deck list. And yeah, fun little deck. Thanks for watching.